Hi, I'm Laura Jacob, registered dietitian at Christie Clinic. I'm here at Common Ground Kitchen, and I'm talking about Illinois specialty crops today, and I'm going to be talking about okra. Okra is a really versatile vegetable. Here we have an okra pod. Some of them are green, some of them are red. They're high in fiber, vitamin C, vitamin K, and the type of fiber that they have is a very heart-healthy type of fiber, like the same kind, similar to what's in oatmeal. A lot of people talk about okra becoming slimy when they cook it, so there's different ways that you can prepare it so that doesn't happen, and we'll talk about that. And then I'm going to make a recipe. I'm going to make roasted okra. So here we have a nice big bowl of okra. We've got some red and green. Typically people see the green variety, but there's also these nice other pretty colors. So you want to wash them before you prepare them. There is sometimes some fuzz on there. So if you want to get rid of the fuzz, you can kind of wipe it off with a damp paper towel. It's not going to hurt anything though. So various ways of picking them out, choosing them when you're shopping. You want to find ones that look nice and fresh. 2 to 4 inches long is a good size. So the bigger ones are fine to use, but maybe a little bit more woody or not as good of a flavor, but they're fine to use as well. So the ideal size is something like 2 to 4 inches. So some different cooking methods. You can roast them, like I said, and all you have to do is just coat them in a little oil and throw them in the oven for a little while. You can eat them raw. A lot of people like to eat them raw. Just don't, you could eat the stem end, but you probably don't. It's a little bit more fibrous, so you probably don't want to eat that. You can put them in stir fry or cut them up and put them in a salad. Are some good methods of preparing them. One of the ways that you can prevent the kind of sliminess that sometimes people see, like if you cut them up and you cook them, sometimes there might be some sliminess there. So you can actually soak them in vinegar. So you would just want to put about a half a cup of vinegar per pound of okra. And I don't have quite a pound here, and then you just pour it over the top. Make sure that they're kind of coated, and then they should sit for about 30 minutes, and then you can cut them up and cook them, and then they won't have that kind of sliminess. Sliminess actually does come in handy sometimes. It actually will thicken stews and soups and things like that. So if you want to use them as a thickener, you just cut them up and throw them in your stew or soup, and it'll be fine. Storing, they don't have a long refrigerator life, so you want to use them pretty quickly after you purchase them. You don't need to wash them before you store them. Put them in a paper bag and put them in your crisper drawer and use them within 2 to 3 days. If you're not able to use them that quickly, you can freeze them, or you can do a couple other things. You can pickle them, is one way of storing. So if you're going to freeze them, like a lot of other vegetables, you need to blanch them first, because there's some enzymes in there that have to be killed, or otherwise when you take them out, the texture is going to be really bad. So an interesting thing about okra is these little whiskers that they have. I like to call them whiskers. These are actually part of the flower. The okra pod grows out of the flower, and this is actually the calyx of the flower. And then the flower would be on the stem end. So probably don't want to eat them. You can just pick them off before you prepare them. So as far as preparing your okra again, for the vinegar, if you're going to roast them, deep fry them, eat them whole, or put them in super stew. You don't need to treat them with vinegar. Only when you're cutting them, slicing them up, will they have that sliminess. So you just want to treat them with vinegar if you're going to cut them up and you're not going to put them in super stew. So today I'm going to prepare roasted okra. So this is really, really easy and tasty. So you want to set your oven for about 400 Fahrenheit. And then you've got your okra that's been washed and dried. And then you can just drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil or canola oil. Or you could use a spray to not overdo the oil and just get good coverage. So canola oil is kind of a more budget-friendly oil than olive oil. Canola oil has, it's high in omega-3 fats, which is a heart-healthy fat, but both of them are, olive oil and canola oil are heart-healthy. Canola is a little bit heart-healthier than, say, vegetable oil. So I'm just gonna drizzle these okra with a little bit of olive oil and kind of toss them around to coat them. My oven is heating, so I want to get them nice and coated so they get crispy like little French fries. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of, I'm gonna use some black pepper. I'm gonna spread them out on the pan. And coat them with the black pepper, a little sprinkle. I guess if you can put more on if you like more black pepper. And then a little pinch of salt. And then you roast them at 400 degrees. It takes about 40 to 45 minutes. And you want to flip them after about 20 minutes. And so they'll start browning on that side, then you flip them, and then they'll brown on the other side. And just probably another 20 minutes after that. So you can flip them a couple more times during that 20 to 25 minutes. Take them out, and they don't take very long to cool. Just cool them off a little bit, and you can eat them like French fries, only healthier. So if you want to freeze your okra to make them last a little bit longer, you want to blanch them first. Blanching kills the enzyme that is in there that can cause some bad textures with freezing if they're not blanched. So we've got our okra here. I'm just gonna dump them into some boiling water. Need to do that, leave them in there for about 4 or 5 minutes, and let them blanch. And then after that, we're gonna put them into a bowl of ice water to stop the cooking. And then they'll be ready to freeze. You could slice them up or you can freeze them whole. So our okra has now blanched for about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm gonna take them out and put them into this ice water bath to stop the cooking. And then they're ready to freeze. You could slice them up or leave them whole and freeze them just like that. And then you can keep them a lot longer if you're not able to use them right away. Just put them in a nice tight fitting freezer container. Here we have our finished product, the roasted okra, nice and crispy and tasty and ready to go. I'm Laura Jacob, registered dietitian at Christie Clinic. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.